This book is my love song to capitalism. Capitalism works. Let me say it again. It works. And I'm living proof. It can work for anybody and everybody, blacks and whites and browns and everyone in between. Absolutely anybody is entitled to dream big, and absolutely everybody should dream big. I did. Show me where the silver spoon was in my mouth. I've got to argue profoundly and passionately, I'm the American dream. I grew up in Roslyn Heights, Long Island, during World War II and just after. There was never much money. My father was an excellent plumber, though not a financially successful one. He lived from paycheck to paycheck. Because he couldn't make enough to provide for the family, my mother had to go to work. She got a job at the school cafeteria, and the little bit she brought in helped make ends meet. But I didn't realize that I was poor, and I had a wonderful childhood. Just over the hill from Roslyn was a vast tract of hills where sand and gravel were mined. The area was called Cow Bay, and Cow Bay sand was much sought after for all kinds of construction in New York City: roads, sidewalks, building infrastructure, any place concrete was used. Both my grandfathers came over from Italy when they were young, and both of them worked in the sand pits. It was dangerous work. There were avalanches all the time. My father's father, who had a good business head, also had a store in the pits, the company store, where he sold the miners and families vegetables and canned goods and you name it. And he bought real estate. Owning property was the name of the game for immigrants, the road to riches. My grandfather bought a lot of properties that eventually became very valuable, but then in 1932 he was killed by a car. Nobody ever found out who hit him. After he died, his sons fought over who was going to pay the bills on the properties, and none of them did. So the real estate was sold to cover tax liens. My father's father died 3 years before I was born, and my father's mother died in 1919 in the flu epidemic, so I never met her either. My mother's parents I knew. My maternal grandparents were working people. My grandmother stayed home. My grandfather left school when he was 6 years old and never won again. When he died in 1952, at the age of 72, he couldn't read or write, English or Italian. My grandfather was a peasant. He was a lovely man, and from the time he was 6 years old until the day he died, he had a shovel in his hand. His right hand was totally deformed. The thumb had lost the ability to bend from 60 years of holding a shovel. His only entertainment was the opera on Saturday afternoons. He would work all week at the sandpits, then work odd jobs on Saturday morning. When he came home, my grandmother would have the bath ready for him, and he'd clean himself up. He always wore a vest, suit pants, and high-top black shoes, the kind with the hooks and eyelets. When the shoes got too old, they became his working shoes. He would take his bath, get dressed, and eat lunch. He was a vegetarian. His favorite meal was fried peppers and potatoes and a piece of bread and a little bit of homemade wine. Saturday afternoon, he'd eat his lunch. Then he'd go under the arbor. He never owned a house. He always rented, and listened to the Metropolitan Opera, sponsored by Texaco, on radio station WJZ. Last year, I was invited to the Metropolitan Opera's performance of La Boheme, and I had dinner beforehand with the chairwoman of the Met, Ann Ziff. All through the meal and the performance, I was thinking to myself, holy smokes, if my grandfather could see me now.